Hey guys, welcome to another episode of Cold Blood Creations.
And it has been a minute or two since we have posted our last video. We've got this new one coming out now. What we want to highlight in this video is egg laying. Now we have had quite a bit of eggs laid here recently. We've been very, very busy.
Yes.
And you know, we get kind of giddy this time of year because it's somewhat like Christmas for us. This is a time of year where we put animals together. We're hoping to produce maybe a certain color, certain patterns, but we really don't know what we're going to get until the eggs hatch. Kind of like opening your presents on Christmas morning. And because it is early in the morning here, we got to go over to the kitchen. We've got a special guest that is fixing breakfast for the Cold Blood Creation crew this morning. So you guys come along with us. We're going to go enjoy some breakfast with everybody's favorite inbred.
The Philbilly.
The Philbilly. So you guys come along with us as we talk about reptile eggs. All right, let's see. Hey, hold on. Come here, you daggum chicken McNugget. Hey, y'all didn't even leave me no dadgum eggs. Bunch of Democrat chickens.
Doing?
Well, y'all knew I was coming over here today to fix y'all breakfast.
So, what are you cooking?
Breakfast. I got grits, I got sausage, I got some bacon, and I got some fresh eggs.
Are those snake eggs?
What's your point?
Philbilly, you can't do that. We breed snakes. We hatch eggs for a living.
Not these ones, you ain't.
Yeah, but still, you can't do that.
Well, look, you daggum chickens out there, they all gone on strike, bunch of Democrat chickens, so I had to improvise.
You can't have it.
Look, I got to cook breakfast, don't make me hit you with this. See what you did?
Boo, I did. This is all your fault.
I'm glad y'all think this is funny. You know, it just seems like every time Philbilly comes over, he's either burning up stuff, blowing down the place,
Jumping through walls.
jumping through windows. I mean, I think the next time we get together with Philbilly, we're gonna have to do it over at his place.
Yeah, right.
Anyway, so guys, here we are. We're going to show you a little bit about how we set up our eggs. Now, thankfully, we still have a facility to work in. No thanks to Philbilly. But one of the things that we look for is swelling in our female animals. Now, by swelling, I mean like this little lady here, she is absolutely plump as she can be. Now, a few days after, well, actually a little over a month after we observe copulation, we'll start to notice that the back end of these animals swell up like this, and then they'll shed. Now, that shed signals for us that we need to place an egg box into their cage. There's a couple of different things we use. You guys who've watched our videos in the past know we like vermiculite, but another thing that we like is this sphagnum moss. Now, basically sphagnum moss can be bought anywhere. You can buy it at Lowe's, Home Depot, sometimes Walmart. Basically, all you want to do is wet your sphagnum moss and squeeze it really hard to wring out all the excess water, and then we put a little layer of it in here. Now, at that time, we will remove all of the bedding, newspaper, and even the water bowl out of our cages. Now, I want to explain the reason why we do that. There is a very large reptile breeder, YouTuber, who has gotten a lot of criticism because people say, well, he doesn't have water bowls in his cages during the breeding season. Well, there's a very good explanation for that, and it's not poor husbandry. The reason we don't do that is because if a snake was to crawl into a water bowl and lay her eggs, those eggs would drown, and therefore all the young would be destroyed. So what we do is remove the water bowls. We give them a little bit of water every other day. We put it in, we watch them drink. As soon as they've had their drink, we take it back out. That prevents a snake from laying any of her eggs in the water bowl. We remove the newspaper and everything so that she can't lay eggs under the newspaper, and then those eggs roll around before we can see or find them. So this is what we do. It's a bare minimal cage, the snake, the egg laying box, and we leave her in here until we notice the eggs being laid. So this snake right here just recently had her pre-egg laying shed. So what we're going to do is bring her over here. Once again, we're going to remove the water bowl. We don't want to take a chance on her laying. We also want to remove the paper. Go ahead and will you discard that? Now, what we're going to do is set her up a nesting box. Now, I like to use anything that they can crawl in, feel kind of secure. We've got some sphagnum moss here that we have soaked down with water. So basically, all you want to do is take this sphagnum moss and just squeeze it really, really good. You notice all the water dripping out. You don't want it sloppy wet. If you leave a snake in an environment that is too wet, they can develop what's called skin blister disease. So now what we're going to do is just come over here and just break it apart. Just tear it apart. And I like to remove, if there's any of these large stems like this, I like to remove those. Just get them out of the way. Stuff like that right there. And just break it apart. What you're wanting to do is just create a nice, soft, very humid environment, and almost like a soft, cuddly blanket. That way the female gets in here, she feels nice and comfortable. There's a lot of humidity, so the eggs don't dry out if you don't find them right away. Sometimes it can take a female up to 12 hours to lay a clutch of eggs, so you want to make sure that they've got something that'll keep the eggs from drying out. Now, something else I like to do is to take a lid and just partially cover it, not completely. Take our female and just see if she will take to it. Most of the time they usually do, as you can see here. Usually they have no qualms about using the nesting box. Now, we have in times past actually locked the snakes in. I prefer not to do that because we still do give them a water bowl from time to time. Like I said, every other day we'll put the water bowl in. We will allow them to drink while we're watching them, of course, and then we'll remove the water bowl again. But now that we've got her somewhere nice and comfortable, she can get in here, lay her clutch of eggs. She's free to come out if she wants to. There's no paper in here to hide the eggs once they're laid. We don't have to worry about them rolling around. So we're going to put her back into the rack and just wait. So Once our snakes or our lizards have laid their eggs, there's a couple different ways that we do this. Now, we do a little something different with our bearded dragons. And actually, this year we've done a couple of things a little different. Now, right here is a clutch of bearded dragon eggs that was laid this year. We've got several. And as you can see here, we've got a couple eggs that went bad. We just kind of moved them over to the side. We put these little marks on our eggs so that they don't get disoriented. In case one of them gets flipped over. That will sometimes happen when these eggs start to hatch. You may have a dragon that comes out of here. He comes out of the egg, he starts running around, and these eggs get rotated. This gives us a way that if, say, a dragon runs around, he flips this egg over, we can visually that quick tell, hey, we need to rotate that egg back in the right position. Now, same thing with these eggs over here. These are another clutch of bearded dragon eggs that we had this year. And it's kind of the same thing. We put the little marks on them. Now we put a little cup of water in here to kind of help with the humidity. As this water evaporates, it causes these eggs to stay good and hydrated. Now, one of the reasons why we like vermiculite with dragon eggs is because, as you can see here, bearded dragon eggs are very small. In fact, they look like little marbles. These eggs right here have been incubating for a while, so they have actually grown a little bit. They're actually smaller than this when they're first laid. They're very, very small. And we don't want those eggs to roll around. So the vermiculite, we can keep them about halfway buried. We keep them all separated. Bearded dragon eggs don't tend to stick together like some of the snake eggs. So that's the purpose of the vermiculite. Now, we've inspected these. These look good. I'm going to go ahead and remove these eggs right here. That they're obviously, they are not good. They're not going to hatch. So we got a couple of them. Now, we're pretty sure these eggs aren't going to hatch. If you look at this, I mean, there's no way anything's coming out of that. But every now and then you'll have an egg that doesn't look that good, and you will be surprised it will hatch anyway. So we don't recommend removing eggs until you're 100% sure that they're not going to hatch. But you know, it's just with some experience, you'll kind of get to understand which eggs are going to hatch, which eggs surely are not. Now, with our snakes, we're going to inspect these eggs real quick. With our snakes, one of the things that we like about snake eggs is if you'll leave the female alone while she's laying her eggs. Let me move these out of the way real quick. If you'll leave her alone, usually as the eggs come out, they will stick to one another. Now, that makes it easy because the whole clutch can be moved around like this. And also, when you want to inspect a clutch of eggs like this, all you have to do is reach down, pick up, and remove the entire clutch at one time, look at it, visually inspect it, and then put it back down carefully. Now, these eggs here look pretty good, so we're going to go ahead and cover them back up. So as we're inspecting these eggs, we have come across one here. Obviously, we have an egg. This is an example of what I was talking about. This egg here looks like it may be going bad. You can see all the rest of these are nice pearly white. This one right here has sort of a yellow brownish tint to it. Now, this is one of those eggs that we do not recommend throwing this away. Just because the egg starts to turn a little yellow, maybe a little brown, doesn't necessarily mean that that egg's going bad. Now, it could, but it doesn't guarantee it. Now, here's the reason why we wouldn't throw this away. First of all, as you can tell, this clump of eggs here they're all stuck together. It would be almost impossible to separate this egg from the rest without risking damaging these two eggs. So for that reason, we would just leave it in there. And it's not going to hurt anything to leave it alone. And the other thing is that you may get lucky and you may have a snake come out of an egg. In fact, last year we had one of the ugliest eggs that we have ever had laid, or not last year, year before. Really ugly egg. It looked like a cigar. It was disgusting looking. Didn't appear that anything was going to come out of it. And we actually produced a pair of twin patternless white-side bull snakes out of that egg. So that's the reason why we say just kind of leave it alone. Now, something that I told you earlier in the video, we've done something a little bit different this year. because it has been an extremely hot summer here in South Georgia so far this year. Our temperatures have been 95 degrees. We've had thunderstorms every afternoon. You guys who live on the West Coast don't know what I'm talking about, but you guys that live in the Southeast like I do, you understand it is so hot and so humid here that you almost have to have gills in order to breathe. That being said, in order to keep our room somewhat habitable, we have to run an air conditioning unit. Now, air conditioning, heaters, all of that stuff will dry the air out in your breeding facility. And that has been the case because our air conditioner has run so much this year. It's been very, very hard to keep a high relative humidity. Normally what we will do when we want to incubate colubrid eggs or bearded dragon eggs, we don't use an incubator. We just set them on a shelf, set them on a table, sometimes just set them on the floor under a table. We let them incubate at room temperature. Now, our room fluctuates anywhere from about 75 degrees at night to as high as it can get over 90 degrees during the day. But we run an air conditioner. So we want to keep it about 85 degrees and less. And in order to do that, we have dried out the air because the air conditioner running. And eggs need a lot of humidity. So the way we have come up with this year to kind of solve that problem is we found these black boxes right here. Now, we use these as shipping containers when we're going to and from shows. But these guys here have these little indentions like this in the bottom, like little ditches basically. And so what we did is we just took and poured some water in these containers. Now, as you can see here, the water kind of stays down into the little channels in the bottom of the box. But we've got 99% humidity and 82 degrees. That is about perfect for incubating colubrid eggs. We couldn't ask for any better than this. It's got down to as low as 81, as high as 86. Both of those are in the good parameters. So what we're going to do, and what we have been doing, is loading up these boxes with our eggs. And we just place them down inside the boxes like this. And now we don't have to worry about our eggs drying out because of the low humidity in our room. Once we put this lid on, our eggs stay nice and warm and they stay very well hydrated. We've got about 3 of these boxes full of eggs. We're in the process of filling this one up right now. And we're going to see how this works out. If you don't use an incubator, if you live in a state where it's pretty warm, you don't have to use an incubator like we do, consider doing something like this, pouring water in the bottom of a Rubbermaid, put your eggs in a different container, and try it out. Seems to be working pretty good for us so far this year. Hey guys, when it comes to egg laying, one of the animals that we're really looking forward to getting eggs from is this girl right here. Now this is Kiara. Those of you guys who saw our Burmese versus retic videos.
You just gotta be like that right now, don't you?
She has given us a great big audible hiss. You could probably even hear that on the camera. Well, we're looking forward to breeding Kiara here to a granite Burmese python male we've got coming up. This girl here is fastly becoming one of our favorite snakes around here.
Yes.
And anyway, we hope you guys have learned something from this video. Hope we've shared something that you can use in your own reptile breeding hobby. And you know, if you have any other tips or suggestions, leave us a comment down below.
And while you're at it, give it a thumbs up and subscribe down below. And we will be seeing you in our next video.
Thanks for watching, guys.
Bye.
You don't make me pop you with this spoon.
I can't stop.
But we appreciate you guys watching this video.
Alright, my part. Hi.
What are y'all hissy and fussy about there? Girl? Maybe we need to get her a nice big juicy rabbit.
Never could have pet rabbits as a kid.